Oh, well. Look at this here. Burning Crusade, World of Warcraft. We're back to World of Warcraft in general. I decided to make a comeback to this beloved game for the third time. We're going to be playing on Stormforge, Netherwing realm, private server. I think it's one of the most newest Burning Crusade private servers that got released, or private server slash realm. Stormforge has been around for a while, but the realm being re-released for a fresh expansion was done about 10 months ago. So I'm a little late into the scene, but not too late. All the seasons and patches have been released already. I think just recently Kill Jaden on Heroic was already slain by a guild, so congratulations to them. But yep, everyone's already getting into tier 6 and season 4, so we're gonna just be leveling and hopping on the train. I have a lot of add-ons. I believe they work for this this client, because this is like the Blizzard's version of the World of Warcraft. This isn't 2.4.3, I think. This is 2.5.1 or 2. I don't know if the add-ons for 2. The original Burning Crusade client, like I don't know if those add-ons will still work for this. I think they will, but I already have my character picked out. Yeah, we already know the cinematics. We already get it. I plan on doing Holy Paladin, so everything's already kind of decided. It took me a bit to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, but I'm not sure what's going to work and what isn't. Let me see. I may have to mess around with my action bars a little bit. So, okay. I think things are mostly set for me. Okay, it's a little loud.
We will have justice.
Okay, hold on. Almost set. Let me just probably turn everything down to like, well, I'm glad to be back playing World of Warcraft. This is going to be once again another small journey to level 70. My UI isn't perfect. I'm still kind of probably going to sort things around like I usually do. Just for right now, you know. It doesn't need to be perfect, because all I'm really doing is just quests. There's nothing to worry about too much there. Oh god, what? Why is my quests like coming up to the side like that? Wow, look at that. I leveled up. Yeah, I might have to change a few things around. I don't even see like their casting or anything. Yeah, we'll have to mess with some of the add-ons a little later. I'm not too worried about it. Because the server's using the classic Lich King client, so I think that's the remade official Blizzard like client of Burning of the Crusade. Add-ons had to be made specifically for this updated client, so there's a bunch of old classic, like old 2.4.3, whatever that old patch of Burning Crusade was. Those add-ons are no longer compatible. Technically you can still play on this server with the old client, but they don't recommend it, probably for stability reasons.
Victory lies ahead.
Currently, I think the server's a 3 times XP, but on Fridays and weekends, it's about a 50% boost, so I'll probably level pretty quickly. I'm already level 3. I done like one thing.
Be ready for anything.
But I will be leveling up as a Holy Paladin, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if RDF is like enabled on this server. Like, I'm not too sure about that. I feel like it kind of should be, because who the hell wants to walk to the freaking dungeons anymore? I just feel like it's easier for players to just RDF. I've kind of accepted RDF now, even if it's in Burning Crusade. I know it never existed for Burning Crusade, but if there is access for it, it would be nice. If not, whatever. I think with leveling, it's probably not really a big deal, because you can level so fast anyways without it, but it just helps. Plus, I like to do dungeons while I level. It just, you know. But I'll probably throw it up on the screen, all the benefits that come from, you know, playing this version of the game and what the server itself has to offer on their version of Burning Crusade. More quality of life changes that they've done just in their server in general for all their realms. Some of the benefits apply differently depending on the realm you're playing on, but you can have a Stormforge membership, which basically just gives you even more benefits if you pay. So like, off the top of my head, things like discounted shop items, just the cost of things is like 10% less. Armor, like gear durability loss from resurrecting with a spirit healer. There's like the durability loss of that is not a huge deal. Also the timing of like resurrecting yourself with the spirit healer. Instead of 10 minutes, it's 1 minute. Instant flight travel. And you automatically have access to all of the flight paths. Just stuff like that. Some of them could be on the cusp of like being a little too easy for players. Like I think the instant fast travel is a little bit much. I'm not crazy about that. I know that people are paying for it, but and I think honestly I can't imagine there's that many people paying for the Stormforge premium membership. I really don't think there's that many people. I think most of us are okay just playing the game as it's intended with a lot of the quality of life stuff. I'm sure there's a number of people who probably play this enough where they find the benefit of paying for the membership. But I mean, private servers it's a free game anyways for all of us to play, so unless this is like the only game you're playing, that's the only time I could ever see it being worth paying for the Stormforge membership. I remember this server being announced about 10 months ago. I keep saying server, I mean this realm specifically. Stormforge has been around forever, but their re-released TBC server, because I'm pretty sure I played on Stormforge before. I have a feeling I may have played on here before. It's probably a deleted long account from a realm that probably no longer exists, but once I get my spec going, I'm most definitely going to be a Holy Paladin. If I do change my mind, I might just level up as a Ret Paladin and then switch to Holy when I get to Outlands. I'm not sure though. But I've had a lot of experience on Paladins, especially Holy Paladins, so almost every server, no matter the expansion, Holy Paladins are very needed. And just not everyone wants to play them. They're a very valuable class to play as and spec in raids and dungeons. There's not a lot of good Holy Paladins. Back on Excalibur WoW, I was best in slot in everything post Sunwell for Paladin. I had everything. And I was also doing Warrior as well. That was another like second main. I was kind of flip-flopping back between the two with two separate guilds. But even though the reckoning is at Excalibur WoW, some of the items, depending on what they were a little bit pay to win, because like certain trinkets you could get.
Business.
Some of them were considered best in slot,
Death
and you could just buy it. I think in the like down the road they kind of took some stuff off the stores to encourage people to actually work for best in slot equipment. But I remember at one point you could buy glaives from Excalibur WoW. But for a brief period, you definitely could pay to win anything. It'd be cool, you know, depending on, you know, if I can find a guild that works for my schedule, and as long as the realm stays alive, it would be cool to actually try and aim for that again, you know, long term down the road. I'm not in a rush for it. I want to savor the experience playing Burning Crusade again, but it would be really cool to do that. What's also super great about Paladins is that Paladins can benefit from so much DPS gear. Like the leather gear, mail gear, plate. They're so good. Like oh, when the DPS don't need any gear, Paladins can just take it for off spec. Paladins are so great when it comes to
quest complete.
Taking gear that no one needs, basically. They're really good at it. They can utilize it a lot. I don't think I need to like stay in this area much longer. I'm already level 6. I don't play Blood Elf too much, but I also didn't want to come back just playing a human. I already played a human on White Mane, so I wanted to switch things up.
Still recharging. That spell isn't ready.
Plus, Blood Elves are like the signature race of the Burning Crusade, so... And on Excalibur WoW, my best in slot Paladin was actually a Blood Elf. I race changed to a Blood Elf, so it works anyways. Looking for group Dire Maul. What the heck? Ah, I was gonna ask if there's a traditional art, like traditional group finding, or if there is an RDF. If I had to guess, it's probably traditional, and because I love Burning Crusade, I'm probably going to be yapping a lot, so people are just going to have to deal with it if they don't like my yapping, because I love Burning Crusade, so I'm going to yap as much as I want. Plus, this server, I've been wanting to come to Stormforge, but for some reason I just didn't. I kind of wish I did. Probably one of the biggest things that I love when it comes to playing on quote unquote new servers is the progression feel. And I don't mean like you can still get progression even on a server that or slash realm that already has all the content released. You can still get that, but I'm talking about actually waiting for things to be released by the staff team in the server. Just like how it would feel if Blizzard was awaiting to, you know, awaiting to release the next patch for you. It's like a mock feeling of that, and I love it. I love that feeling because, you know, back in the day, I was kind of too young to, you know, really have my own Blizzard account and play during the Burning Crusade and Lich King times. I watched my brother play Lich King a little bit, but at that time I was just too young, had no money. I never got to experience that like old school like grinding experience the way that I am now. I sort of did, but not really, because when I started getting old enough, my brother and I just started doing private servers, because again I couldn't afford a subscription, and my computer wouldn't have been able to handle, I don't think, the newer World of Warcraft expansions out at that time. So it was just simpler to just, you know, get a private server and play the old expansions of WoW, because the old expansions of WoW just they can run on any computer. You could have the worst toaster computer ever. Somehow World of Warcraft just, it can run on that computer. It doesn't matter how much of a toaster oven it is.
Victory lies ahead.
I had like the worst laptop ever. It was so busted. Had like 1 million viruses on it. It was used. It was like, I think back in like 2012. It was like $100 used, busted up eBay laptop that my dad bought me. It's funny, some of these quests in Eversong Woods, I'm not like completely familiar. Like I remember it because everything's memorable in Burning Crusade, but Blood Elf was never really like my race. Like I always liked Alliance, but even when I did like Horde 2, I just never was a Blood Elf player. But the only time I ever would tolerate it is if I play as a Paladin. Some people have said in the past, any server that does cross-faction gameplay is a bad sign that there's something wrong with the population. I know that there may be some truth to it, but I also think that no matter what server you are on, it just makes more sense to do cross-faction, because you're going, if you don't do cross-faction, then you're waiting for queues, things are slower, you're literally limited to your faction. You cannot interact, you can't do certain things, you might have to wait till certain times. Like it just, it's not, I don't think it's a viable thing to do unless your server is huge. Like you have thousands upon thousands of players playing all at once, then maybe. But I just think it's kind of a dumb thing to complain about. I'm already like level 7. After turning in these quests, I think I'm definitely gonna start going to Silvermoon City. Getting out of the starting zone, because I'm technically already out leveling the starting zone. But yeah, I'm definitely not playing at the hype of this realm being released. And no matter what the server is, anytime someone's like, oh my god, a TBC realm or server is being released, let's hop on it. Literally everyone does it, and then like after a few months it just falls off, because like once people get to say that they were the, you know, server first kill for these bosses or these raids, you know, more of the population drops off, and that's kind of a part of it. And I think almost everyone knows that. Oh, can we make it? Yeah, we can. Let's turn in these 2 quests and get the hell out of here. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm starting this again. I really wanted Burning Crusade embedded on my channel somewhere. You know, I have Lich King, not finished Lich King, but I do have Lich King on my channel. I have Retail WoW on my channel, not finished again, but Burning Crusade, it doesn't matter if it's at the low point in the years, I still need it on my channel, because it hits at home for me so deep. Like I need to have this expansion somewhere. Even if it's not the same, even if it's not what I experienced when I was younger, it doesn't matter.
Anaria Shola. Death to
Plus, I'm gonna get to see how the population is in the server. From what I looked up and kind of talking to AI a little bit, doing some deep research on this server and based off of the posts, it seems like for the most part the servers, it usually, depending on the hours, doesn't fall under probably 100 players. It probably very rarely ever stays under 200. That's what it seems, at least. I think this is something that gets a little overlooked when you do get to Outlands. A lot of inexperienced WoW players, because I'm sure there are still inexperienced players even on private servers. There always is. It's not as often. Mostly everyone knows for the most part what they're doing, but there's still always some people who are still new to WoW, and this is how they get to enjoy the older games. But back to what I was trying to get at. This is the one thing a lot of people overlook for Burning Crusade, unless they watch guide videos. Do not rush to level 70 when you're in Outlands. Unless you know what you're doing, it'll still eat up time for you, even when you're level 70. Reputation's pretty important in Burning Crusade, just for the weapon and item enhancements, gear enhancements. Not all of the factions, but especially when you pick Scryer or Aldor, like there are some things, if you're trying to get a bump up there, heroic, dungeon ready, and raid ready, whatever, getting the reputation is pretty important. Oh my god, this is a mistake. I might die here. No! I cannot die. All right, he's dead. Ah, screw this. Hell no. I'm a veteran at this game. I can't die like this, please. Oh my god. The only exception, I think, is if you get carried in raids. So if you have an alt, I guess, or you know someone who can hook you up in pug runs or just guild runs, they get you in a raid very easily, and you get really good luck with the drops. It can definitely help you a lot. I think that's kind of what happens with a lot of people who know what they're doing and they have connections on the server. I don't know about attunement in this game. I don't know if this server has attunement. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'll have to ask. I don't know how attunement works when everything's already been released. Again, I'll have to ask about getting attuned, but like doing your attunement quests, if available, just all that little stuff, because it really helps you in the long run. What does suck that I think I may have said this already, but I'm just gonna say it again because I probably didn't even finish the actual conversation. But that was really annoying, that you kind of have to dig for the add-ons for this client. Granted, in the Discord, they already do have a lot of the majority of the add-ons that people would need for their class and PvP and PvE necessities and quality of life stuff. In the Discord, but you kind of have to look for it, and it's not really like on their site. It's not on the Netherwing site for their in their sub as a subcategory. It's not there. I feel like maybe somewhere on their site they can create like a add-ons for the 2.5.2 client. I feel like that would help newer people, instead of having to figure it out. Okay, based off of my experience, it's probably just somewhere in the Discord. I just feel like that's not very efficient. Just one of those things. The game's been out so long. Usually people who play private servers already have experience dealing with that, but again, there's always someone who probably never played WoW a lot, and they decided to figure out how to get into private servers. There are people like that who exist. My favorite leveling zone is Ghostlands. Yeah, buddy. Ghostlands is like, when I have played Blood Elf in the past, Ghostlands is my favorite area. Sometimes if I ever played Horde, I would just go to Ghostlands just because. Killing the ghouls, I don't know. When I was a kid, it was so satisfying. Just killing those smelly, messed up looking ghouls, and they'd make those funny like dying ghoul sounds, like it's probably the worst ghoul sound I ever made, but they make the and then you can hear their bones cracking and falling sound. I would be so like afraid of the knights, the knight skeleton knights. They always did the most damage. I was so scared of them. I always tried to avoid them like all the time. The ghouls I didn't care about, but it was those skeleton knights. I was afraid of them. From what I've seen, there isn't any pay to win on this server. Like you can't buy gear, armor, I don't think you can level You can't buy professions. It's a pretty in that regard, it's pretty vanilla experience, which I like. I like that grindy, you know, that grindy necessity. I do like that aspect. Most of us do, sort of. What I was about to say is that if I'm not mistaken, for a holy paladin, best in slot profession, I think the argument is from blacksmithing to jewel crafting. From what I remember though, I don't think it's blacksmithing. I'm 100%, I'm 99% sure it's jewel crafting. I remember being a jewel crafter in Excalibur, so my secondary profession wasn't a secondary, it was actually another primary, because what people would do is that they would first, like their first character, they would have to get a main and second, but then they would make an alt, and that alt would basically feed your main, so your second primary. So you would drop your secondary profession, take 2 primaries, make an alt, and then that alt, you would have to level up the profession for the alt, and then you would be able to feed your main the materials needed for leveling up your profession, your second primary. Or if you're a rich mofo, you can just buy your way to max level profession. Just buy the materials on the auction house. But you're gonna drop a ton if you do that. You need a lot of gold to do that. But yeah, so I'll have to get jewel crafting from Silver Moon City, or wherever the hell I am. Yeah, Silver Moon City, not Ruins of Silver Moon, actually Silver Moon City. Yeah. Hey, level 10, look at that. I don't know how guilds in this server are, but oh my god, I'm about to die. I don't know how guilds are in this server, but usually in the Burning Crusade, kind of do expect a lot of their core members to have drums, which requires max leatherworking. It sucks because there are some classes that genuinely don't benefit anything from leatherworking other than drums. You do get goggles, but even then, goggles aren't best in slot for paladins. There really isn't anything leatherworking that would be best in slot for a paladin. Jewel crafting makes more sense, especially for a holy paladin. It makes more sense. I remember getting it just because, like, I was fine. I had plenty of alts. I didn't care to just pick up, you know, leatherworking for drums. I might have to consider it down the road though, depending on the guild I join and, you know, where guilds are at and how strict they expect their core raiders to be. They might expect me to drop my secondary for leatherworking. Some guilds don't care. They don't care if people rotate drums. Like, it doesn't, some people really don't care. But almost every group member in every subgroup would be required to have drums. But I really don't think, at least progression wise, that would be expected. Maybe in Sunwell that would be expected, but I don't think in any other raid it would be. Especially, I don't know if in this server there are guilds progressing Karazhan. I'll kind of have to ask someone, or maybe I'll whisper someone a few questions.
Our enemies will fall. We will have justice.
Oh no. I asked this guy how's the realm. Now server is dead. Well, that's a hot take. Hopefully they're wrong. I'm hoping they're wrong. I'll have to kind of ask them why they feel that way. Oh my god, I forgot. You have to pay for every rank of spells instead of automatically. Oh my god. Hey, jewel crafting trainer.
The eternal sun guides us.
All right. I probably spent about 30 minutes just kind of talking to some people. Just kind of asking their opinions on the server. I might still get some messages because I don't think they were done talking to me, but I just wanted to kind of wrap up my professions. From what it seems like, the server is kind of the best you can get when it comes to TBC. Honestly, going basically in 2026, I'm not really surprised. You know, this server, this expansion, not even just the server, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. There's not a lot of TBC servers that are still alive to this day, and from what I figured, that some of the people have said that this server is kind of the only server you're gonna find that at least has somewhat of a stable population for the expansion. So I'm not too bothered by it. I honestly, I've dealt with worse. From what it sounds like, I don't believe some of the numbers that I researched were accurate. It doesn't seem like thousands of players would actually be playing, and if it is close to that, it's probably only during the peak hours. And the problem is, from what I was told, it doesn't seem like there is actually peak hours. It's more like peak days. So there will be times, probably certain days, you're literally not going to get the same population you would on like a Friday. So that's a little disappointing.
Severe.
I was talking to Phoenix Rider. I had messaged them just to kind of ask, and they were so kind to kind of answer a lot of my concerns and questions about the server. They seem pretty transparent about it, so I definitely didn't want to record a server that had nothing going for it, but no, this guild, he invited me to the guild. It said that they're doing Karazhan, and they you know, they were a leveling guild. They still are a leveling guild, but they are from what it sounds like, they're trying to develop their core. You know, when I can get to level 70, it'd be really cool to, you know, start raiding. I had explained that I do plan on trying to be a holy paladin. So there's never enough healers and tanks, no matter the server. So or even retail. There's just not. There's more DPS than anything else. I think I might try and quickly knock out some of these quests and then just call it a day for this video. I joined the Iron Throne. First guild. I'm kind of glad I joined it because I like to join developing guilds, not ones that are too saturated with max levels. Like, it really helps with just interacting with people who also need help. So, man, I forgot about Seal, Judge, and then Seal. Oh my god. Seal, Judge, Seal. Because even with like Lich King, you get so spoiled. That's where the mana drain comes from. Just constantly sealing. But yeah, I'm kind of glad. I'm surprised. For first video, I already got into a guild. That's pretty impressive for me. Whitemane, I don't believe I got into a guild until I was max level. I think I was guildless the entire time. But I could already tell that like the server was populated and it was still progressing, so a lot of my questions were kind of answered. I'll never forget the feeling about the add-ons though. No matter what private server you start on, dealing with just before you even decided what class you're gonna play, what you're gonna be, a PvP or a PvE, or before you decide anything, just trying to get your add-ons together is probably the most taxing and annoying thing ever. And I guess this guild has been out for about 2 months. Not bad. The server in the realm is pretty new in general. It doesn't, and I like new realms. It feels fresher, despite dungeons and raids being released. Definitely need to make sure I'm keeping up with the mining. That's going to be a problem, and I remember it being an issue before in Whitemane. I really had to stay back in certain areas just to farm professions. Where is this guy? Melidor? Where the hell is he? Is he one of those guys that like have a path they walk around? Oh, he's right here. What the hell?
Quest complete.
We're gonna kill the Anvil Ward, and then once we turn in these quests, we're gonna head over to Ghostlands because wait, Actually, wait, I'm too low. Never mind. I didn't mean to say that. Not Ghostlands. Just continuing Eversong. I don't know why I thought being level 10 in Ghostland was the way to go. Ghostlands is level 20. I remember this quest. Assassinating the dwarf. Dwarven spy.
That's still recharging.
I'm starting to remember too. In TBC, you never use max rank Holy Light unless it's like an emergency.
Quest
You only do
complete.
it for emergency heals. You always use lower ranking stuff because of mana. You kind of have to decide based off of how much mana you have and what you think the best decision would be based off of the situation. Most of the time though, most of your standard Holy Lights is just lower ranking Holy Lights. Like it's like I think it's like rank 3. Wait, no, I can't remember what rank, whatever the secondary or third from the last rank is.
Stay the course.
But you'll burn through your mana if you use max all the time.
Anaria Shola.
Because the problem is if
Keep your wits about you.
if as a paladin, if you're healing your tank and then you go out of mana early,
Victory
you
lies
just
ahead.
screwed over your group.
Victory lies
Because if
ahead.
that tank like
Shorello
gets hit hard or whatever the case may be, it's all over for you. That'll be the end of this video. I'm glad to have come back to WoW again and start another private service series. Burning Crusade, as I've just talked about earlier in the video, really hits home for me. It sucks that maybe the server isn't as populated as I would hope, but either way, it doesn't really matter. Just the fact that there are still servers like this that still exist is probably the most important thing. So again, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to take it for what it is and just accept the fact that this is what I get. And the population, from what it seems, isn't even that bad. I used to play Excalibur in worse conditions. And this was before like more of the legacy servers were coming out. So it's just legacy servers for Blizzard, like all those classic reworks. So, it is what it is. We're going to keep grinding. We're level 11, already started a guild, gonna join the Discord and just start making some friends and just getting to know this community a little bit and seeing where we're at by the time we get to level 70. So hope you guys enjoyed, and see you on the next one.